Hello, my name is Shepherd Plenge. I work with Morningwood Fencing and Decks. We're located in Northwest Florida, more specifically the Navarre, Florida area. And I'm going to show you how to build a gate today. All right, so first thing, we got our framing up. You got to take the hinges out of the box. You've got two different ones. This is the bottom hinge. It's just regular, pretty much. This top hinge has this little support bar. Make sure that goes on top. Just cut this little piece loose. And they just slide right over the runners. Pretty easy. And the gate kit comes with these lag screws. And it should be a 10mm socket. There we go. All right. Once you have these GForce hinges on the runners, it doesn't matter which one of these goes where, but you're going to put a screw through both of them, one on the static fence, one on the gate. You take your lags. I'm going to pilot bit one through just so I don't split the runner. Make sure you're totally tight up against the end of the runner when you do this. Try to leave as little gap as possible. And when you put this screw in, you want to make sure you don't over tighten it. And once you put the first screw in, you just repeat for the other four and then do the same thing on the bottom hinge. Make sure they're tight and flush. And after you get that, then we can start framing the gate. You get it on the runner, make sure it's sitting good. Make sure this reveal is tight. As tight as you can. A little hole started. And tighten, but don't over tighten. And then repeat for the next three screws. Okay, so next step, I'm gonna get a measurement from the top hinge to the house and from the bottom hinge to the house. And I'm gonna subtract a little bit, probably leave a 1/4 inch off the house just so it's not rubbing. I'm gonna get that measurement and cut it real quick. And we got the top runner cut. We're gonna put the top and bottom up. I'm doing this by myself right now, so I have this little jig. Sits on top of the post, and it allows me to set the runners on these little pieces of wood sticking out. So basically, it's like somebody holding it over there for me, but I don't need somebody else, so it's kind of handy. I'll take this board. I can balance it up there. I can slide it into this hinge here. And now I do the same thing I did on the post side. Make sure this is pulled in, flat and flush. Make sure this reveals as tight as you can get. When you put this screw in, you want to make sure this little bracket is going in line with this hole. So you basically tie it into itself. And then you screw it together. Okay, so we've got the hinges on, got the top and bottom runners. I'm about to put this middle runner in. Before you tie into this latch post, you want to make sure you're not pushing on it at all. So after you build it, when you cut the gate free, it doesn't move at all. So let it sit exactly where it wants to. It should be plumb because you set it plumb and attach it. Now it should be good, but just make sure you don't move it. And I'm about to put a block of wood in here that will attach the latch to. I cut this block, I'm about to attach it to this post. You want to make sure it's not too small, so when you screw into it, you don't want it to split. I cut it at a foot. Anything from a foot to all the way up to the top is fine. I'm going to take this, flush it up to the edge of the post on this side. And screw it in. I'll hold the board up and mark it. Before I do that, I got to pull at the top an inch off the post and make a mark. And at the bottom, I do 7/8 of an inch. And then I'll take a piece of wood. I don't think this is quite long enough. I need to go grab a piece of wood. But I'll take a piece of wood, I'll flush it up to these marks, hold it, and I'll mark it, and I'll cut those, and it should slide in there perfectly. All right, so I've got my marks. I got my piece of wood. The way I like to do it, I'll hold it up top, and I'll kind of flush it up at the bottom. I'll hold it with my leg and my arm. Then you just get a mark there and there, and that should be just about right. When I cut it, I like to leave half the pencil line just to make sure it's snug. I don't want it to be too small. So I'll go cut this and slide it in. I'll set it on my mark at the bottom and kind of line it up with my eye up top, and it should fit in there real snug. Not too tight, so you don't want to push stuff around too much, but you definitely want it tight. And then try to line it up with your mark best you can. I got the top lined up good. I'll get the bottom in a second. Take a pilot bit, and I just go into the side. You don't have to go crazy with it. This is kind of a big bit. If you have a smaller one, you could go all the way through. I'll do that, and I'll take my screw. And attach it. And I'll do that on this side too, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom. So down here, make sure it's good on my mark, and screw it in, same way I did up here. Okay, we've got our vertical in, we've got everything built so far. The next step is to do this compression brace. It's like a diagonal piece. The way I like to do it, I'm standing on the outside. I like to stick it through, and I want to line it up. This top side of the board, I want to line it up with the edge of this flange on the bottom GForce hinge. And the top, I want to line up the bottom of it with this edge here. And if it's a little bit tight, that's good. So I've got it lined up there. Take my pencil, make an X just so I know that's the top, and mark the bottom. When I cut these, I'll leave a little bit of line again, make sure it's tight, and then we'll put it in. Okay, got my diagonal cut. The way I like to put it in, I push it up against the bottom. I want to make sure it stays butted into this hinge. I don't want to come over it. But as you can see, I butt it in up top. It's a little too big, but that's kind of how I like to do it. I'll take this and I'll just butt it in a few times. And then I can just hammer this in. It's not that hard. I can do it with my hand. If you have a hammer, it'll be easier. But that's in there really tight. It'll keep everything from sagging, hold the gate together well. So next step, I'll screw the bottom in first. You can do the top. I just always do the bottom. Make sure it's flush. And I'll take a pilot bit. Screw down into that bottom runner. Make sure it's snug. I'll put another screw in here, and I'll do the same thing up there. And that's pretty much it for the diagonal. And then after that, it's just putting pickets and the latches on. Okay, so this is an optional thing. We like to do this, add strong tie mending plates to the framing of our gate. So I'll put 4 of them on. You don't have to, we just like to do it. I'm gonna put one here and one down there, and then one on this diagonal here and one down there. And they're pretty easy. You just stick them in the middle. And hammer it on. And I'll do that in the remaining places. I'm also gonna make sure I put some more screws in our latch post on the framing. This side's been screwed off already. Just want to make sure I don't forget to do that. All right, putting this last one on down here. Just center it up like I did the rest of them. All right. Now we have all four on and everything screwed off. The gate's ready to start putting pickets on. And I put at least 3 screws in. Each one. I didn't mention earlier, on the runner the hinges are on, I put 4. Try to screw it off a little bit more. That's the load bearing runner, so I want to make sure it's secured well. Two more down here. Okay. We're going to walk over here and look at a gate I framed up as well. The only difference from this one is that it's on a pretty steep slope. And I'll explain how to do that. It's essentially the same thing, but so same looking gate, only difference is it's angled up pretty strong. When you're putting these GForce hinges on, the metal can bend. It's a little, you got to put some force into it, but you attach the top, it'll sit snug and the top corner will be touching, and this part will be angled out, but when you build your gate, you want to make sure those sit plumb so that they swing on the same axis and everything swings out correctly. So I'll attach the top two, and then I'll pull this hinge down, and I'll screw these in when this part is flush. Make sure the reveal is good. And the same thing for doing this. When I put these in, I slide them in, screw in the bottom because of the way the angle is, and then I'll lift up on it, screw the top in, and attach it over there. And everything else is the same. Okay, so before I start building the gate with pickets, I've got to put this board on the runners over here, just like I have one over there. And I'm going to put it the same height off the runner as those are, just to make sure, and then I'll pop a string line between them. And then that way I can make sure all the pickets I put on this section of the fence are in a consistent straight line, the same with the framing. Okay, so I'm about to start doing pickets. The first picket I do, I'm going to put on top of this latch post. It's going to cover up this framing in this block we put in for the latch. This is just here to make sure the latch has something to attach to again. But I'm going to take this, butt it up to my line, and make sure it stays flush with the post and all my framing. Good on my line, good on my post. Put a screw in there, and I'll do the same thing on the middle and bottom runner. That one's good. I'll take this picket and I'm going to cover up. I'm going to start on the leading edge of the gate, the part that swings open, and I'm going to run back towards the hinges. I'm going to take the picket, do the same thing I did over here, put it up to the line, make sure I'm flush with my framing. Put a screw in there, top and bottom. Make sure it's flush. I like to put a screw in the middle too on this vertical part of the framing, just to make sure it stays nice and straight. And then I'm going to keep running until I get to the end. I'll be right back. Okay, I've just got my picket cut. Sometimes I'll cut a dog ear into the other side. In this case, I'm not going to. It's kind of a thin picket. So I'm ready to put it up. I can't put it up right now because I've got this little bar in the way. So what I do, I'll hold it up to the right height, looking at my line, and I'll touch it to the bar, and then I'll just give it a little hit, and it makes an indentation. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. But right where that is, I'll mark the top and bottom of it, and I'll take a speed square, and I go in 1.25 inches. And then I'll set my circular saw to 1.25 inches and cut in, and that should make a nice little notch that fits over this pretty well. So I'm going to do that real quick, put this up, and we'll be right back to cut the gate out. Okay, I've just got my notch cut. Like I said, I measured 1.25 inches in, and I set my saw blade depth to 1.25 inches. If you can see, it cut it at pretty much a perfect 45. Now that notch is going to slide right over this. So I'll take it. I like to put it to where it goes into the hinge past the pin part and get the height about right. And then I have to just give it a little nudge, and it should slide right in there. And just screw it on, finish screwing the gate off, and then we're going to cut it out.
Okay, the moment we have all been waiting for. Shepard is going to cut this gate in just a few minutes. Are you ready, Shepard?
Yeah, I am. So make sure it's all screwed off so everything stays, fixed together well. When I cut it, I'm going to cut it off the gate side first and leave these little tabs sticking off the post. They're just a lot easier to cut off the post after instead of the gate. The gate swings around once it's loose. I'm going to use this circular saw. I'm comfortable with it. Make sure you're safe with it if you do use it, or find someone who's comfortable using it. Just be careful. But I'm going to cut this gate side first.
Here we go. Okay, the bottom one will free the gate. Oh, wow.
And she opens up.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I'll cut these tabs off real quick.
Okay, Shepard, let's push the gate closed so they can take a look and see how much drop the gate had, if any. Let me go on the inside. We can look at the 2x4s, see how they match up. Okay, shut it away. As you can see, I would say there's absolutely no drop whatsoever. You ready to show them how to do the latch?
Yep. I'm going to go grab it. Okay.
Okay, now
I put the spring.
Yep, connect the spring to the big piece. Okay.
Yep. And then make sure this piece sticks through that hole.
Yep.
And then
Get your pin.
Yeah. I'll take this pin.
You have to push it down. Kind of tough to do, guys.
A little snug. Stick that through. Come to this side.
Of course, now if you know a better way of putting this thing together, there's instructions that come with it, or a faster way, then go ahead. And then you're just going to flip that down.
Yep, there you go.
Boom.
It's assembled.
That didn't take a minute. Come on. Yeah. That was pretty easy.
Super fast. So I've got
tons of fasteners. And the GForce hinge, of course, comes with fasteners. Everything you need except for the window. And Shepard.
So I'll take this, I'll put it fairly centered in this block we put in just to make sure it's not too close to the edges. We don't want it to split.
One of the things about latches, if you're doing it for a pool, some counties have requirements for how high a latch will be off the ground.
Yeah.
And I think in our county, do you know what it is?
Is it 52 or 54? Something like that.
Anyway, you guys want to check and make sure that that latch is set at the proper height.
Yep. So there's no pool here. This is lower than that, but we're good.
We're good to go.
I'll take this pilot bit. Go ahead and hit both of my holes. I like to put it a tiny bit further back just to make sure when I suck this latch on, it pulls it real snug against the picket and everything. Do that. Get my drill.
Now the latch Shepherd is using is called an anti-sag latch. The scissor portion of the latch holds the latch bar inside of it. So when the gate's not in use, the weight of the gate, if there is any, will rest inside the latch.
Gotta find my, here it is. All right, got my socket ready, got my holes pre-drilled, got the latch. I'll hold it up here and sink it in. Do the same thing on the bottom. Now that's securely fastened. Almost done. Just got to take this guy out. The striker bar. Just 2 more fasteners. I'll close the gate. Oh yeah, I like to do it. I'll stick my bar through, make sure it looks level. And I'll just take a pencil and mark the center of both of my holes and pull it out and drill those out. It's just easier for me to do that by myself. Take the bar through.
Shepherd, how long should it take somebody to build one of these gates?
Not
somebody as fast as you are.
I think it's reasonable to say anybody, after you understand the concepts and have done it a couple times, I think it's reasonable to say you could do it in around a half hour. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less if you do it a few times. I think I've done it in just over 20 minutes a couple times. But I think a half hour is reasonable to say you could build a gate in.
As we're getting close to the end of the video, or actually that is the video minus the handle.
Yep, you put a handle on, you can put handles anywhere.
Let's open up the gate and walk through, and let me see what it looks like on the inside.
All right.
So anyway, that's what she looks like. It's beautiful. We can't detect any sag in the gate. The 2x4s are lining up perfectly. Hi, Shepherd. Let me out.
Thanks for watching. It's fun to build. It's quick and easy. I don't think I've ever used a hinge that was more convenient and easy to use than these ones. So they help us out a lot, and we really appreciate you.